Aloha from my man cave in Rockaway Beach, New York. And this is the second segment on skateboarding for HTB Triple Threat Sports. And this one I'm going to try to be a little more shorter, a little more compact, and we're going to talk about the evolution of skateboarding. And I read a book recently called Impossible, The History of Skateboarding. And in that book, the author thinks, or through his research, thinks that it's possible that past civilizations or past centuries did activities similar to skateboarding. All you need is four wheels and a plank to get the basic motion of skateboarding. However, anyone that knows anything about skateboarding knows that the basics started from another sport, surfing. Living in Rockaway, I know that the surfing has its own history, its own culture, but in the 50s in Southern California, a lot of surfers got bored with the waves of ceasing. They started experimenting with roller skates and planks just to get the feeling of surfing on the, just to practice the basic motions of the surfings, but when they couldn't actually surf because the waves were low. So the 50s, they really, just by playing around and trying to get something to do when they couldn't surf, they really created something that, and the history, they don't really know a particular person or people because it's just kind of, they didn't expect much from it. Yeah, skateboarding had its first craze in the 1960s, and this was California based, but also on the East Coast in New York. Online searched a few years ago, Life magazine did a feature on the sport in 65 or 66, and the online has been a great resource for me to learn history, but the first craze in skateboarding was in the 60s, but that folded. This little thing right here, this little invention, the urethane skateboard, this revolutionized the sport and is why we have modern day skateboarding. This is why you see all the stunts and tricks skateboarders are capable of doing because of this. Invented in 1972, this produced the next skateboard craze in the 70s. In California and Florida and other places, they built huge concrete parks. And you watch the documentary, there's a movie, Lords of Dogtown, based on the documentary. So that movie, Lords of Dogtown, and the documentary are worth watching. And other documentaries, Death Bowl to Downtown, New York City documentary, and the Bones Brigade all explain this 70s history. And it was very popular. The shape of the deck, stuff weren't really concrete yet for modern day skating. The popular skateboarding crashed again, and in the early to mid 80s, ramp skating was developed by a few devotees that started skating as little kids in the 70s, and they weren't ready to give up skating. So the popularity in the early 80s really crashed. But what evolved from it was backyard skating. People built their own ramps, and it created this whole beautiful thing. And Powell Peralta is a company to look up in the 80s. And, it's amazing what pretty much all the ramp tricks, mini ramp tricks that people do today were from that era, the 80s. And maybe even a little further than that. But, that's when I started 88. It was a big ramp, transition to jump ramp. And then, again, in the late 80s, early 90s, skateboarding crashed again. And really, the last important era of skateboarding, when you talk about the evolution, is in the 1990s. Skateboarding in the late 80s, early 90s, the popularity dropped so off that the people left over skating it developed tech skating. This is like flipping your board and like doing kick flips and pressure flips. And it really, it developed where it became a highly skilled thing where doing grinds down handrails, doing, flip tricks to grinds down handrails, and it really became an urban thing. It no longer became have a skate park or build a ramp in your backyard. It very became, if you live in a city, you can do this, and if you don't live in a city, if you can, on weekends, go to a city. So, it's my generation, I feel like really attached to skateboarding because I saw it grew and progress to where it is today. So, the 1990s, you can thank modern day skateboarding to the 1990s. That's it. Thanks for watching. If you have any comments, we really appreciate if you put it below in the comment box. And next up, I believe we're going to talk about skateboarding competition. It's different than other sports. Thank you.